Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, with a bunch of good news to talk about today. And if you don't already know, make sure you subscribe, make sure those notifications are on, because every single day you will get free Raiders videos. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to tell you what the good news is, because there is a lot to me. I'm going to put it in 4 different buckets. The first bucket of good news is going to be around Brock Bowers, and he was out there on the practice field today. Yes, he was wearing that knee brace still that he had on this past game up against the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday Night Football. But for me, there's 2 reasons why this is really good news that Bowers is out there. The first one is the obvious. It's the duh. Anytime Bowers is out there, that's really good. He was unable to practice on Thursday. He was unable to practice on Friday. Did get some limited work in. Did get a little bit of practice reps on Saturday. And was essentially a game time decision for that game on Monday Night Football. The fact that he was able to play in 77% of those snaps, and sure, like, there was definitely times where I was like, he's not 100% healthy. And I think that we could all tell that he wasn't 100% healthy. But still, an 80 to 90% Brock Bowers is a top 5 tight end in the National Football League, right? So to me, it's good that he's out there, even after a game that he played on Monday, short rest week. So good that he was out there. I will admit, based on what I saw today and based on what I was told, it was a limited, lighter practice, not just from Bowers, but from, everybody. It kind of almost had some of, the off-season vibes where, you're not really allowed to go out there and hit anybody. A lot of sneakers, a lot of tennis shoes. It was a pretty laid-back practice. It was more just, we got to get out there, we got to do our thing, but we want to let our bodies rest. The other reason, though, why I think that it's really good news that Bowers is out there is Bowers is the number 1 option in our offense, right? And there was a lot of concentration, obviously, on Geno. He did not play well. I was very frustrated by the way the offense looked in general. But, you also got to consider the fact that the Chargers are a good football team. That is a playoff caliber football team with a great defense and 2 very talented defensive-minded coaches in Jim Harbaugh and, Minter as well. And they've been working together for a long time. So I can understand that there were some frustrations because we didn't have Bowers all week to practice. So to me, this week, a week that we absolutely need to be a bounce-back week, you get Bowers out there on Wednesday. It allows you to kind of run through the motions a little bit of what you could potentially work with. But I think also for Chip Kelly, I think it just tells you that you're going to have Bowers. Yes, the expectation was that Bowers was going to be able to play on Monday Night Football, but there was at least some uncertainty. We know now, if Bowers is out there on a Wednesday, that he is going to be ready to rock and roll this Sunday against the Commanders, barring some sort of setback. But those are really good news bits for the Raiders around Brock Bowers. Let's go to the second thing that I love today in terms of being a Raider fan. Ashton Genty. I don't want to say that he called out the Raiders because that makes it sound like it's negative. Genty was an honest man, and he answered the question honestly. Essentially, he was asked, about the touches and if he wants more touches. And he said, quote, "I don't think you draft a guy like me to not give me carries and touches." And yeah, some people are probably going to look at that and go, well, you're kind of calling out the Raiders there. But at the exact same time, does anybody disagree with what he's saying? I get when people say no offense and then they throw something at you that's a little bit offensive and they expect you not to get mad. That, you can go in that bucket. I respect the way that Genty answered it 110% more, because I think people watch the Raiders Report. I think people, when they talk to their significant others, when you talk to your kids, when you talk to whoever, you talk to your good friends, you expect 100% authenticity. You expect 100% honesty. And that's what Ashton Genty gave you. You drafted him number 6 overall for a reason. It's to go out there and play him, to give him touches, to give him carries. Now, does he need to be better? Yes, absolutely. And he said, he's ready for more opportunities. I went back and I watched some of the tape, and there was the one play where Geno and Genty kind of got the plays mixed up. Then they ended up taking out Genty. He needs to get better in pass protection. He needs to get better in these other opportunities, understanding the plays. But I know that Pete has kind of hinted that Labby's going to get more work, and I also can confirm that I had a source reach out to me earlier in the week. Well, I went live Tuesday. What's today? Wednesday. On Tuesday, and they also told me that, hey, man, you're going to expect that Labby's going to get a little bit more work, and that's probably going to be in the passing game. But it's not a disrespect to Zamir White. It's not a disrespect to Dylan Labby. I can't wrap my mind around the idea of you taking touches away from Ashton Genty and giving them to those 2 guys, or even Raheem Mostert, whoever the hell it is. But I think it's a good sign that Ashton Genty flat out said today, I don't think you draft a guy like me to not give me carries and touches. because one of the things that I've been really hammering on is Brendan Carroll. You're the run game coordinator and you're the offensive line coach. I'm looking at you right now and saying you are the number one reason why Ashton Genty isn't getting it going right now. And if you don't believe me, well, check out the video that I put out yesterday and check out the shorts that I got coming up this week. Because if you want some stats, I got some wild stats to prove that it's not an Ashton Genty problem, that I promise you. So Genty said today that he's looking for more touches. My question of the nation out there, and it's going to be the pinned comment today, and I mean this. If you watch this video and you don't answer this question, I'm going to shame on you, right? How many touches for Ashton Genty this week against the Washington Commanders? Y'all are about to get it with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, scroll on down and give me your answer. I'm going to sit up here and say 20. If Ashton Genty doesn't get 20 touches in a game that, again, you got a little bit of a short week. It's only one day, short week, outdoor game against the Washington Commanders, I think you got to try to establish the run. And whether you want to run through the air or whether you want to run between the tackles, you got to be able to figure out ways to get them going. You cannot have a running back that's got 81 rushing yards and 84 yards after contact. It's a disgusting stat. You can't have a running back that's got 3 receiving yards on the season, but 26 yards after the catch. Disgusting stat. I don't want any more disgusting stats around Genty because when I watch him, you can see that he's talented. You can see that he's got the footwork. You can see that he has the burst. To me, we got to figure out how to get him more touches. And I don't mean just running into the back of our blockers over and over and over again. Chip Kelly, you're the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league for a reason. Get creative. I know you can do it. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to talk about Jackson Powers-Johnson. And if you caught the theme of the show, there's a lot of good news, and I think that you're going to see a little bit of a smile on my face here in just a second. But I do want to tell you about our sponsor, Panda Sups. Use code Raiders. If you don't know how to spell it, I'm going to challenge you. RAIDERS. Code Raiders is going to get you 25% off at pandasups.com. If you want to know what supplements I always use the protein. I always use the BCA. Those are probably my top 2 right now. Other ones that I do really like, and around this time, I literally just put in an order for the sleep aid. It's because, like, when I get done doing a watch party, I'm just so amped up. And if you're like me where, you know, you get done, you watching a game, and the Raiders end up losing, I just sit there and my wheels are turning over and over and over and over again. And sometimes, you know, you need to be able to turn those wheels off and you need to be able to get a good night's rest. So to me, I really recommend the Sleepy for Raider fans, especially this time of the year if you need a little help going to sleep. So again, it's pandasups.com. Use code Raiders for 25% off. If you spend $99 and you live in the U.S., you get free shipping. If you spend $125, you're going to get something else, plus free shipping. But I'll let you figure that one out. All right, let's go to the other good news here. We got 2 more things that I want to talk about. JPJ was at practice today. I did see Vincent Bonsignor, and I believe somebody else was like, he's not there. I don't know what they saw, but the information I was given, he was at practice today, and he was in a red non-contact jersey, which means he is trending in the right direction to play this upcoming Sunday, which thank the flipping Lord, right? If it was up to me, I'm putting JPJ at center. I'm keeping Colton at left tackle. I'm going to put Jordan Meredith at guard. We'll figure out what to do with Dylan Parham, and then you're going to have DJ Glaze also over there at right tackle. Like, to me, I just want JPJ to play center so flipping bad, and I think it's going to be such a simple correction of the offensive line and such a simple correction of the Ashton Genty struggles, and I'm not the only person that thinks that. I know I'll say this. I also know I'm not the only Raiders player that thinks that. So I'm hoping that JPJ gets some opportunities. We'll see how this week ends up trending. But with the concussion protocol and all the concussions that he's had in recent history, I mean, he's already had some concussion issues this year. 2024 OTAs, he fell in the draft because of some concussion issues that he suffered in college as well. So he's got to be able to figure it out. If it's up to me as well, I'm putting one of those Guardian caps on him. And quite frankly, if I'm the Raiders and I look at Jackson and I'm like, if you want to play, Guardian cap. If you're like, I'm not going to wear a Guardian cap, you're not going to do it. I would almost look at it as like a seatbelt. If you're 16-year-old and a brand new driver said, I'm not going to wear a seatbelt when I drive. Guess what? If my kids tell me that, I'm going to laugh in their face and be like, you're not driving then, right? So to me, he's got to wear the Guardian cap. He's got to be able to go out there and he's got to be able to do that because at this current point, our offensive line needs all the help it can get. We are 28th in rushing attempts, 31st in yards per game, 31st in yards per carry, 29th in rushing first downs, and 32nd in run block win rate. None of those numbers are good, and I think Jackson Powers-Johnson at center is going to be able to help us do that. But again, the fact that he was out there in a red non-contact, yes, it's red non-contact, but as strict as the NFL is with concussion protocol, the fact that he was out there today is a very, very good sign that he is trending in the right direction to be able to play this Sunday against the Commanders. Let's go to the fourth and final news bit here that some people are going to probably get mad that I said this is good news that Jayden Daniels is, dealing with a knee sprain. I'm not saying that it's good news that he's dealing with a knee sprain. I'm saying it's good news that he's probably not going to play. Therefore, it makes it easier for the Raiders to win this game. So today, Dan Quinn, the Commanders head coach, said that he's dealing with that knee sprain. The earliest he's going to practice is going to be on Friday. But it sounds like he's going to be doubtful, and it sounds like we're going to be going up against Marcus Mariota. I think the other part of the equation that Raider fans might not think of, and, I think about the Raiders all the time, quite frankly, maybe too much. My wife would probably say that. But my point here is, to me, I sat back and I go, why would the Commanders not want to play Jayden Daniels? And the number one thing that came into my mind, Robert Griffin III. An organization, and especially an organization like the Redskins, Commanders, the football team, whatever you want to call them, they had an unbelievable rookie quarterback, RG3. Got a knee issue. They tried to force him back out in the field too soon. What happened? He ended up re-tearing it, and he was never the same. You got Jayden Daniels. You just won Rookie of the Year. Took your team to the NFC Championship game. Dealing with a knee sprain, I think you give him the amount of time that you need so he is 100% back healthy, because you don't want to put him out there on the field because you don't want another RG3 situation. I get it's different regimes. I get it's a different owner, but there's a lot of Commanders fans right now, and I'm following them on social media. I'm talking to some of them. There's actually a lot of Commanders fans that don't want Jayden to play this week because of the whole RG3 incident. And obviously, this isn't a hot take. Marcus Mariota, not as good as Jayden Daniels. That's good news for the Raiders, because being 2-1 is a lot different than being 1-2. I'll say you that right now. So before I get out of here, I'm going to ask you one more question here, and it's going to be around the defense, because I feel like we talk a lot about the offense, especially this past week with all their struggles. If Marcus Mariota is the Commanders quarterback, how many points will Washington score? I want you to go down to the comments section. Give me your answer. My answer coming up here after this YouTube ad break. I'm going to sit up here and go, if the Commanders got Mariota out there, 17 points. Hopefully that's enough points for us to be able to put up and get a win. But in my personal opinion, if Mariota with that roster is the starting quarterback, 17 points is what I expect the Raiders to be able to hold them to. If that happens, we better get a flipping win. All right, y'all, I'm ending up. I'm going to head on out of here. Appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in to today's program. Sorry that it looks like this, but Chugs, he's off all weekend. We're just mixing up some producers here and there. But I will be live tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Reed's going to be with me. It's going to be a wild, wild day. That's all I'm going to say. I think it's going to be the craziest Thursday night show that we have done all season. And that's all I'm going to say. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's also Bills-Dolphins game. A little bit of a rivalry game, kind of. But I also know that Bills Mafia, our guy Smitty, he's going to be going crazy. And our Dolphins guy, Nick Roloff, is going to be going wild. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are on. The 4 big news bits today, the bunch of news that I was talking about. Brock Bowers practice. That's a good sign. He's going to be healthy. Helps out our offense. Ashton Genty wants more touches, and he lets you know about it, which means we better get some more touches. JPJ in a red non-contact jersey means he's trending in the right direction to play this Sunday. And Jayden Daniels doesn't look like he's going to go, which means it's probably going to be Marcus Mariota. If you want even more content around the Las Vegas Raiders, you already know. Hit that subscribe button. At this point, if you're watching and you're not subbed, you're probably just hate watching, which means you probably also cross your legs when you take a dump. If you want even more videos, click on this one, or you can click on this one. YouTube thinks that you're going to like these, but no matter what, you better hit that button.